crease to the sideline. We never move back. The DRE LAX podcast. DRE LAX podcast. DRE LAX podcast.
All right. We are back. We are here with a live edition of the DRE LAX podcast. So it's been a couple of weeks since we got started. We kind of took our break with the show after the weekend in Philly because everybody else was off, so we took time off. But just a brief recap: the Pan American lacrosse games took place, and once again, it came down to U.S. versus Canada, but it was the matchup we always knew would be. And the biggest takeaway, besides the fact that Team USA fumbled like a 3-goal lead twice, like this is the second time they've done this in recent memories, but legit, I just don't understand what happened there with that class. But they were playing good. But hey, all respect and all congrats to Team Canada. They were doing their thing. They were doing their shit. But it was a shame that we couldn't get the gold. But silver's all right. We'll get them next time. But so the interesting takeaway that I have from the Pan American Games, for one, if Eric Law wants to make a comeback and if this was as my friend Brandon Hooten said, a soft launch for a comeback, hey dog, I'm cool with it. Eric Law, you want to come back? Bet. Pull up. But nonetheless, the things that impressed me the most with the Pan American lacrosse games, for one, Puerto Rico got one hell of a team, and them finding a way to punch their ticket late in the game against Mexico was some of the most exciting dramatic lacrosse that we've seen in a minute. The Haudenosaunee team showed out, and once again, I am still upset that the Olympics Committee has not granted them the right to compete under their own nation, because again, how dare we have the audacity to say we're playing the creators' game on the Olympic world stage, but we are not letting the nation of the people that created this game play. What are we doing? To the IOC or whoever is the shot caller, the decision maker, what are we doing? Let's be so for real here right now. For real. What are we doing? I digress. Because I'm going to get real annoyed and be on a tangent and all that shit. But the other thing that I find the most interesting was that Team Jamaica showed out. So, I've long been a fan of Team Jamaica because of the fact that I'm a fan of Stone Evans and the rest of that squad over there. So it was really cool to see them showing out, to see them find a way to get it done. I believe they ended up taking fourth place because they fell short in the bronze game. In the bronze medal game to the Haudenosaunee team. It was a 16-9, but it was not without drama, not without flair. It was top tier. What is it? What is it that me and Brian knows Lax always joke about? Quality hoops, quality hoops. And we saw some real hoops, man. They were hooping the highlights for the World Lacrosse tournament, man. Top tier. I was having a good time. I loved it. I was getting to watch the clips and the highlights. And I'm sure some of the Canadian PLO players that are playing in the postseason that played against the USA lacrosse players who might be their teammates this weekend and stuff like that. I'm sure that dynamic's going to be funny navigating because nation rivalry, all that shit. It's just fun. It was good lacrosse. It was good. It was a good time. The sport is growing. The sport is eating. We are finding ways to thrive, and I mean, for me, I love it. I love it. I love what it's doing, and I love how lacrosse is growing. Speaking of how lacrosse was growing, once again, shout out to the Maryland Charm for winning the Women's Lacrosse League National Inaugural Championship, and shout out to Sydney Black for being named League MVP. Always want to big up and platform women and trailblazers in this sport, and the WLL absolutely succeeded in this first season, and I cannot wait to see what the game looks like this next coming season, especially with the return of Charlotte North. Now, moving on to this road to playoff perdition. So, by tradition, we are going to make predictions. Sorry, I didn't mean to rhyme like I was Dr. Seuss. Crazy. I'm wilding. I'm tripping. Anyway, here's the matchup that we have in front of us. So, on Saturday, we have the Denver Outlaws versus the California Redwoods. And then we have the Whip Snakes versus the Boston Cannons. The winner of Denver versus California goes on to face Utah. The winner of Maryland Boston goes on to face the Water Dogs. So here's how we gonna do it. We have a few ways of doing this. So we can give you know what? We're in the interest of having fun, so we're going to do it all. Logistically speaking, in terms of statistically, who's been doing well, who makes it the most fun, who makes it the most exciting matchup. Well, we'll do that. We'll do the most exciting matchups, and then we'll do what I actually think. So, on paper, logistically, the money matchup for the TV ratings in terms of everything. The logistical fun matchup on the Eastern side is the Cannons versus the Water Dogs, because you have Matt Campbell back, you have Coulter Maxey who's playing great, you have Marcus Holman who's playing out of his mind, you have JC Higginbotham who's figuring it out in cage, you've got Andrew McMeekin, who's absolutely dominating at the face-off stripes, and I would look forward to a Staff Courier little like two-man matchup against him. If the Cannons were to win, but again, in terms of money matchups, the most exciting matchup on paper is Cannons Water Dogs. Two teams that don't like each other. Two teams that got storied rivalry, two teams that got history of knocking one another out of the playoffs or even out of a chance to be in the playoffs. It's the money matchup there. Now, in the West, it's very interesting because, again, although sports is competitive, sports is also entertaining. And in entertainment, here's what we're looking for. We have different storylines because in the storyline itself within this matchup, head to head, the last 3 times of meeting each other, the Outlaws have beat the Redwoods twice. The Redwoods have beat the Outlaws once. The last time they faced each other was 2 weeks ago, and the Redwoods won 18-11. But here's the contingency and the part that makes it fun. the Outlaws were definitely coming off of a skid, and they were resting a lot of guys that were injured and they were hurt and all that stuff. Not an excuse because injuries happen in sports, but that the fact remains they were not at full strength. And even the Redwoods came into the matchup a little dragon tail. So again, story wise, and in terms of narrative wise, and what we have that's the most like intriguing. See, if we get Redwoods archers, we get Dylan Ward, who's having a career resurgence, versus Brett Dobson on the other side, goalie versus goalie, who gets more saves. You have a dangerous Redwoods offense that's young and puts the ball in the back of the net. You also have the Archers, who have had the best defense in the league. So you get you get one of the top offenses in the West and one of the top defenses in the West head to head. You also get a great face-off stripe battle between Mike Sisselberger and TD Erlin. That's an intriguing matchup over there. On the other side, were it to be Outlaws that beat the Redwoods, you get Weirman versus Sisselberger at the stripe. You get the Teforiton offense versus that Utah defense, who has stifled almost everyone all season long. And you get a battle of goalie by committee on the Outlaws side because, it's unclear if they're doing McNaney or if they're doing McElroy versus the Archers, who have had stability with the best goalie in the world in Brett Dobson. But again, like I said, in sports, you need a narrative to drive the interest. We need to put eyes on the matchup. So that is the predicament you have. I mean, the Whip Snakes could beat the Cannons if the Cannons come out looking sluggish, but there's so many ifs on the Whip Snake side that, and again, I'm not writing them off because this is a competitive sport. At the end of the day, you have to show up. Regardless of who suits up, you have to show up. But here's the reality. Joe Nardella is hurt. I don't know if he's going to be good. Joe Nardella is out. Petey LaSala is hurt. We don't know if he's going to be good in time. And currently, as it stands right now, Petey LaSala is listed as inactive. Joe Nardella is hurt and inactive. Pilato is inactive. The active face-off on the roster is Nathan Kapp out of Jacksonville. That's who it was last week. But you have a tall order because you are asking Nathan Kapp to go head-to-head with Andrew McMeekin. Now, I'll give it to you. Nathan Kapp did a good job last week. He was 56% on face-offs against the Water Dogs. Granted, he was mostly going up against Stathakis for 22 of those face-offs. And this is 2 weeks ago. There's a lot of changes that have happened, a lot of things that have happened. So the most intriguing thing with the Whip Snakes and the thing that is in front of them is not can they beat the Cannons, because again, anybody can be beat on any given day, any given Saturday, because they're playing the games on Saturday. But here's the thing. The Whip Snakes, Knapp has to beat McMeekin at the stripe. Emmett Carroll has to make some clutch saves against a threatening Boston Cannons offense. the Whip Snakes offense, which has been struggling to put shots on Cage, whether it's TJ not hitting his shots, Rob Pennell not hitting his shots, Joey not hitting his shots, or Aiden Carroll not hitting his shots, or Heacock not showing up. Like the Whip Snakes offense has been struggling, and that's why they're 5-7. And they've been inconsistent. They've had moments where they get hot late in the game, but they don't. It's been a very long time since they started a game out strong. And despite not having the most quality at faceoff, they still are able to rally back offensively. But the problem here is that you can only get away with being a second half team in this league for so long, so often. The Outlaws found that out the hard way last year in the championship game, mind you. So, with this game favoring Boston with the way the scales have tipped, it is a tall order for the Whip Snakes if they're going to beat the Cannons. They have to have a lot more go right than wrong in their equation. They have a lot more things that they have a lot more boxes they have to check than the Cannons do right now, especially because if you take last week's loss into account and then the overtime loss they experienced in Boston against the Cannons, and then you take their loss that they experienced in Columbus at the hands of the Outlaws, and you take their loss that they've experienced from the Archers back in Denver in July. This is almost a month worth of losses. The last time the Whip Snakes won a game decisively and decidedly was in Fairfield, Connecticut on July 17th. That was the last time they experienced the highs of winning. And you are now expecting the Whip Snakes to go against a very hot Boston Cannons team that's been on a hot streak. And you're expecting them to come in and win. Well, optimism exists in sports for a reason. And this is why we have drama and intrigue. So, thank you for letting me go on my little tangent and my little rant briefly. But here is the real deal of what I think is going to go down for these playoffs. I believe we're going to get an overtime game with the Redwoods and the Outlaws. Results, logistically, on paper, what I'm expecting is the Outlaws to keep it a close game with the Redwoods. And then in the fourth quarter, TD Erlin's going to get hot. Going to get a nice little 4-goal lead. 2-point Merchant, 2-point Assassin, Graham Bundy Jr. is going to hit 2 clutch 2-point goals to tie it up at the end. We're going to get overtime. And in overtime, TD Erlin is going to win that ball. But Zach Geddes or one of the other people on the wings go stop that fast break. Make whoever is in cage needs to make a clutch save. We get a little bit of drama on the other side, back and forth. Goalies are making good saves. And right as overtime is about to expire in the first period, Chris Kavanaugh is going to blow right by a sliding Jake Piscino. JT Giles Harris is going to be just a half a step too late. Bouncer, goal. Redwoods are going to go on. I hope you really enjoyed that journey I took you on. And then Cannons, Whip Snakes, I think the Cannons win by 4 or more. Losing does add up, and the Whip Snakes, I think they'll be physically ready, but like mentally, it's been so long since they've experienced a culture of winning. A win would feel cathartic for them, but I just don't have confidence in their ability to shake off these last 4 rough weeks and losses and come back and win. So, I believe in the semis, we are going to have the Redwoods versus the Archers, the Cannons versus the Water Dogs. In the semis, you're in Zion Bank. This is home field advantage for the Archers. Home field by every metric, by every statistic, they should win that game. But here's what we have in our hands. It's going to be nearly a month since the Archers have played, but they've been here before. They had to do this before in 2023. But that 2023 team is not this team. And I'm not going to argue whose is better. But I don't know if the rust will be too great. It also depends on how California's coming in. Because this is only about a week in between. If I, offensively, the Redwoods have a better offense. But Utah's got the best goalie in the world. And if there's one thing I've learned this season, don't ever bet against Dauber. I usually take him in most matchups anyway, but don't ever bet against Dauber because when you think he won't show up, he shows up. And Brett Dobson is just a different animal. Same animal, different beast. But so the Archers are going to win that matchup. And I think we're going to get another dramatic affair with the Water Dogs and the Cannons. And again, because we said, sports like stories, think about it like this. The last series championship was, I believe it was Utah Cannons. Not this prior one, but the one before that. There was one of them where it was Utah Cannons. And Cannons came out on top. So that's going to be an interesting affair to see. But with the Water Dogs, we get a rematch of 2023. 3 years removed, different coaches, different staff, different team, different mindset, different offensive setup and defensive setups. The most intriguing matchup from this semifinal is a Archers Water Dogs rematch. That is my opinion on that one. And I think in New Jersey, we get Water Dogs, Archers, and I expect that the Water Dogs will right their perceived wrongs from the 2023 championship, and the Water Dogs will be your 2026 PLO champion. I do believe that. I think that's what's going to happen, and I think that's going to be the most interesting part. Is just what happens there. Alrighty. On to the awards. We're going to see if the PLO has announced finalists for any of these awards. Because if they've announced finalists, then this shouldn't be too bad. This should be pretty easy. For those. Have they not announced finalists? Oh no. Wow. Okay. There was a mix of the other like results and stuff, and so like they didn't announce award finalists yet. Hold on. Huh. Okay. Well, we do not have award finalists for these different awards. So we will do a um episode again next week for the award finalists. That's interesting. That's so interesting. I would have thought they would have said something by now. Huh. Well then, that that was. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little disappointed on that. Okay. Um. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was that was about it. We're pulling a Mika and we're doing a 30-minute time limit. So I don't know what I call it when it's I don't know what I don't got a name for it. We put under 30 minutes. I don't got nothing. Uh under 30 for 30. Yeah, dog. I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna catch this for y'all. You all have yourself a good rest of your day. Like this is but we're gonna be good. We're gonna be Gucci bandana. All right, I'm gonna play y'all out. I'll catch y'all.
DRE LAX podcast. The DRE LAX podcast. Say it loud, say it fast. The DRE LAX podcast. From the crease to the sideline, we never move back. The DRE LAX podcast. DRE LAX podcast. DRE LAX podcast. Talks and checks, rides and clears.